Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Players Own YouTube channel. And there was a massive game last night versus my club, Manchester United and Aston Villa. And what a game we were treated to. Probably the pick of the games for the Premier League on the weekend. And a late classic, a Manchester United classic goal to come back and secure all 3 points. A massive 3 points. Coming into the game, Erik ten Hag said this was a cup final for Manchester United. And it makes a lot of sense because if we wanted to make Champions League football, you cannot lose, even draw this game to Aston Villa. Otherwise, the gap would continue to be 8 or even 11 points. So massive result for Manchester United. It gets them back in the hunt for the top 5, top 4. And for Aston Villa, looking a bit shaky now. It's a few weeks now where they haven't been at their best. They've lost this home record and they're not converting on games they'd normally win. That's what we saw at the start of the season. They'll win these games that were tied or blowing top teams out of the water. They beat Arsenal, they beat Man City. They were taking it to big clubs. They were travelling well. And everything's just, I guess, into the new year, they've really struggled. So an interesting game in terms of two teams with two different fortunes now. Getting into the game and the way it sort of panned out, early on it was all Manchester United. It was a lot of possession in the Villa's half, on Villa's edge of their area, a lot of corners early on, and that's where the first goal came from, was a corner whipped into the back post. Kamara was on Maguire. He absolutely mounted and just rose above Kamara to head the ball back into a dangerous area. And it's Rasmus Højlund once again on the score sheet. First to pounce, got onto it, stuck a foot at it, and knocked it past Emi Martinez to make the game 1-0. He now becomes the youngest Manchester United player to score in 5 consecutive Premier League games. So despite the poor start of the season and people calling him a fraud and all this, he's gone and now 12 goals in all competitions, breaking records in the Premier League in terms of Manchester United players. And now a really respectable Premier League goal tally with 5 currently. So he's in a roll at the moment, 5 consecutive games scoring goals. He just seems to find the back of the net. And it's so funny how forwards' luck can just change like that, a flick of a switch. It was Aston Villa on Boxing Day there. Pounced a great finish to help United win that game. And ever since, he's just been rolling in all competitions. And in the past, that sort of game there, the ball doesn't land to him, or Emi Martinez or defender gets in the way of it. But in this game, everything's going his way and he's getting the ball in the back of the net. And that was a very important goal early on to settle the nerves for Manchester United and for Aston Villa to really, I guess, put them on the back foot a little bit. They had started the game poor, a bit wasteful in possession, didn't create any meaningful chances. But after that first goal went in and after, I guess, the first 20 minutes, it was all Aston Villa. For the next basically hour, they were dominant. United sat in, tried to absorb a lot of pressure, and looked to sort of hit Aston Villa on the counter-attack and play a proper sort of away style of football where it's just, sort of snatch and grab type stuff. And it was going that way and it was going okay, but if it wasn't for Andre Onana, Manchester United could be in a lot of trouble in this game here. It was a John McGinn world-class sort of first-time effort in the 24th minute that forced Onana to make a reflex save. The next minute, he made a great save coming out to deny Ollie Watkins, and there was more in there as well, and a few half chances falling Villa's way. So in the first half, you could praise Andre Onana for his work he did to keep United in the game. And the same story was the second half. It was just super dangerous. A lot of chances. Leon Bailey getting the better of substitute Lindelof, who came on for an injured Luke Shaw. He was very shaky coming on, looked very rusty, poor passes out from the back, poor decision-making, getting absolutely obliterated by Leon Bailey. And Onana was called in to make some reflex saves from Watkins again, as well as coming out to claim balls, which he hasn't really done in the past. So it was probably Onana's best game with his hands and also his best game in terms of decision-making, coming out, sweep a keeper for certain clearances, ball playing with his feet, playing the right pass, making the big saves. It was a total all-round performance with him, a proper sort of 8, 9 out of 10 type performance. And it was also supported by that back line. Maguire and Varane were putting up really solid performance in this game. And despite United conceding a lot of chances, it probably wasn't the defence's fault. The game was played a lot from end to end, sort of ping ball type action. The midfielders were bypassed a lot. And for Aston Villa, a star in this game was Jacob Ramsey, who played sort of off the flank, but was playing quite narrow, almost in behind Ollie Watkins. And he was causing a world of trouble for Luke Shaw in the first half. In the second half, against sometimes against Delo when he come onto the other side, or also against Victor Lindelof, he just seemed to pop up in all these different pockets of space. Him alongside Leon Bailey, they were causing havoc for the fullbacks. And the midfielders just didn't seem to want to pick up any runners. Jacob Ramsey was there for Manu to pick up, never quite, man-marked him. And Casemiro a little bit slower nowadays, so they were bypassing him quite easily. So the game was basically played end to end. United would go counter-attack, create a big chance, fluff the lines, miss it or whatever, and then it would go the other way and it would be an Aston Villa attack, and it just seemed to be back and forth. And then United were holding on, and it seemed that they were getting closer, but it was almost inevitable that Aston Villa would strike back, and it did come from a corner, whipped into the area, headed away, and it was Leon Bailey's shot come pass that landed up at Douglas Luiz's feet, and he sort of swiveled and great finish into the roof of the net, past Andre Onana, no chance he could save that, and made it 1-1 there around the 70th minute mark, and then from there on in it seemed like, Aston Villa are going to go and win this game. They've got all the momentum, the fans behind them. Leon Bailey and Diaby came on, and these guys were just causing havoc for the back line. But as Manchester United do best, Fergie time, we've seen it so far this season versus Brentford, versus Wolves. United in late moments can come through with some clutch moments, and it was Scott McTominay once again. He seems to score so many goals in these late moments of the games coming off the bench. It was Mino who rolled the ball back to Delow. First time cross into the area. Absolutely pristine ball into the area. And all Scott McTominay had to do is get his head onto it. Much taller than Matty Cash. Got some connection. It flew past Emi Martinez for the 86th minute winner. I went nuts over here. It was a massive game for us, and that was a massive moment. And once again, Scott McTominay, he's now got 3 goal involvements in the last 3 games coming off the bench. Seems to be Ten Hag's guy at the moment, leading Premier League scorer for Manchester United, his 7th goal in the Premier League this season. Goes to show how poor we were at the start of the season, but also goes to show he's finding a bit of a role here coming off the bench and being that pinch-hitting sort of striker in a way, the big tall presence in the box. Obviously, Delow's delivery was ridiculous, and the back 3, I guess, in Delow, Varane and Maguire, despite conceding a lot of chances, had some phenomenal games. And Delow both ways, some great challenges early in the game, that delivery into the box, his ability to be almost a right winger when we went very defensive in the game, creates that goal. He was massive, the most consistent performer for Manchester United all season, I feel like. Every game he's available, every game he's giving you a really solid performance. And if this attacking output, what he's delivering here, these great balls into the box, his overlapping runs, the ability to invert, so important for United going forward, because that's what Ten Hag wants in his fullbacks. The ability to defend, but also solid on the ball, and the ability to put a great ball into an area. And as I said, Scott McTominay once again coming up clutch. Think back to Brentford earlier this season, turning around that 2-0 deficit to create that manic winner late in that game there again. So United then end up winning it. 4th win in all competitions, 3 in a row in the Premier League, and 3 against top half sides. And now finally ending that whole stigma that Ten Hag couldn't win against a top side away from home. It's the first win United have got away to a top 6, top 8 club. So that ticks that box as well. And United just seem to be moving in the right direction. I was never really against what Ten Hag was doing, but I was questioning his decision making. And I know players are out, but you're Manchester United. You expect to win a lot of games of football. Now that you've got Casemiro back, Martinez and Luke Shaw back for only 2 weeks, but with them back as well, the team looks totally different. Confidence in the team. With Rafa Varane back there, Maguire playing some great football as well. You just have faith in this side again. Kobbie Mainoo and Casemiro work well in that dynamic double pivot. You see more time for Bruno Fernandes. They're going create in forward areas. And the front line is finally settled. No more Anthony. No more sort of trialing with Martial. It is Højlund down the middle. It is Rashford off the right or the left. And Garnacho preferably looks like off the left at the moment. And it just seems to be working. It seems to be clicking. Those guys at the front are working really well together. The midfield duo with Mainoo and Casemiro work well together. Maguire's come back and looked like he was absolutely deserving of that November Player of the Month. He's been super consistent. And Onana in goal, probably putting his best performance of the season together. Just seems to be clicking for Manchester United at the right point of the season. 5 points Aston Villa, 6 points at Tottenham. I think you can peg that back, especially with Villa, how dodgy they've been in recent weeks, not very consistent. They've only picked up the 8 points in their last 5 games, so really struggling. That's with including a win versus Sheffield United in there as well. So, they're not really at their best. They've lost 3 on the trot at home, where it seemed like they were, unbeatable, 13 months undefeated at home. So they're looking a bit shaky there. Tottenham coming the end of the season are all a bit shaky. I know it's a new year under Ange, but they know become a bit shaky at the end of the season as well. And Erik Ten Hag is still in the FA Cup, and he always said he wants to win trophies. And Manchester United have an opportunity here. Man City obviously still in the tournament. Liverpool obviously still in the tournament. But Aston Villa got knocked out by Chelsea. Chelsea aren't really that consistent either. So you're one of the bigger clubs in there as well. You hope you make out the cup run in there. There's no Europe to focus on. So top 4 in the Premier League and an FA Cup. It could turn out to be a successful season for Manchester United, considering how awful the start of the season was. It's faith in Ten Hag here has probably being restored with the way he's got this team playing the football. Again, it's not where we want to see it as Manchester United fans, or as a neutral, you can see it's not quite where Manchester United want to be, but it's closer to that now. It's longer periods, controlling possession. That's the next step for Manchester United, to be able to control possession and control games. You look at Arsenal earlier in the day, 6-0 win over West Ham. I know West Ham were very poor, but Arsenal were able to control that game, create chances for fun, have possession at 60, 70 marks, and really dictate and dominate that game. That's what Manchester United are missing at the moment. The ability to control games when it gets a bit nervy and not just sit in it and absorb pressure. As I said, they've got some winnable games coming up as well. You've got Luton and Fulham and then Nottingham Forest, I believe, in the FA Cup before you play Man City. So a chance to really peg that gap at the top of the table, make it nice and tight and put pressure on Aston Villa and Tottenham to try and sneak into a top 4 spot. Touching on Villa on the other side of things, a big injury that came out of it was Boubacar Kamara, who went down around the 80th minute mark. So it'll be interesting to see his fitness, if it's a knee or calf problem. I don't know. He just went down very obnoxiously as his foot slipped there. So that's a real big problem for them, because he's been super, super consistent and super important for them, considering John McGinn's just sort of recently come back into his sort of form and health. So one in, one out. It's not really what Villa want. For them, though, really important to go back to the drawing board. You've got to fix what's going on at the moment. They're, in this game, created a lot of chances, but weren't able to convert. So the chance creation is still there. It's just worrying that they're conceding these goals. Poor decision-making in terms of the manning up at the corner. The second goal, you can't do much about that. It's just quality. But in recent weeks, Newcastle got the better of them, where Newcastle were having some poor form. Manchester United away from home versus big clubs haven't been consistent either. But you're losing both these games at your home ground. Like, that was their fortress. That was the reason they were amongst the top 3 come Christmas time. You've got to refine that form and refine their mojo. It just feels like there's not much different going on. It's just they've lost that confidence and the momentum and the form they had. So just got to refine that, get a big result. I thought the Sheffield United result would kick them back into gear, but it just hasn't quite worked like that. And I can't really point the finger or anything in particular. I just think they need a little bit more compact and solid at the back, and then take your chances up front. They had a lot of chances in this game. They had some chances versus Newcastle as well. Take those opportunities. Put sides away early, or put the other sides on the back foot early, and you can go and win a lot of games of football, because there's so much talent there, and so much excitement to be around Villa at the moment. It just seems like it just sort of tailed off recently. All it takes is one big result versus another big team to get them back on track and get them back competing for top 4 in Europe again, because I think it's a very, very easy fix. There's just a few confidence drops amongst the group, a few difficult results, but in the Premier League, we know they can turn around very quickly. Look at Manchester United. About 4 weeks ago, the season looked like it was done and dusted. Nothing to get out of it. Conference League type football. Now you look at Champions League, and you never know with a cup competition and a cup run as well. So for Aston Villa, there's a lot to juggle. Obviously, the Conference League comes back shortly. Premier League action to worry about, but they are out of the FA Cup, so they can worry now in the Premier League action a little bit more. But for them, back to the drawing board a bit, reset some confidence, just try and be more clinical in front of goal, and not concede those weaker goals like we saw the first one last night for Højlund. That being said, ladies and gents, what a game it was. As a Manchester United fan, trying not to be very, very unbiased, I'm super excited for the back end of the season now. 14 games to go to peg Aston Villa and Tottenham back and secure a top 4 spot. For Aston Villa, a little bit of worried sign for them and their fans. Let me know what you think, if you're Aston Villa fans, in the comment section down below. How do you fix this team at the moment? Because they're going through a bit of a rough patch. 8 points in the last 5 games. Some bigger fixtures to come. But you, as an Aston Villa fan, you'd at least want top 5, considering how strong you were going into the new year. They just got to hit reset and start again and get back to, into their best form like we saw over the Christmas period. But very exciting times. This is what we like for the Premier League. It's all coming nice and tight there at the top. You've got the top 3 going for the title. You've got now Tottenham, Aston Villa, and Manchester United within 6 points of each other, fighting for 4th place. It's all heating up. And that's what we love about the Premier League. With that being said, ladies and gents, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please smash a like on it, subscribe to the channel, and leave in the comment section down below your thoughts on this game. Did United deserve the win? Did Aston Villa deserve the win? What's next for Manchester United and Aston Villa? 2 teams that seem to be going in different sort of directions. So it'll be interesting to see how both teams end the season off. Hope you have a great rest of your day, guys. I'll see you guys for a podcast very, very soon. And until next time, I'll see you then. See you later.